Right, exactly. And I think that's a good idea, and I think what you said earlier about the little bite-sized goals of him checking in with you every day, and either you modeling or discussing or him verbalizing what's going on before he ever starts his day would be very beneficial.
Well, initially I just focused on behavior and goals for my class, but I'm wondering if we couldn't just have a little notebook where we write goals for his whole day, and then I check in on those, cause.
I think the 7 weeks or is maybe too long for him right now,
Sure.
you know, cause, yeah. And so maybe if he had shorter, more timely goals, like you did this today, or you did this
Yeah.
this week, it might be easier.
For
And I
sure.
do think his reading goal is very important, cause it might be part of what's making his behavior what it is, but if he's like that at church and at home and everywhere else, we might have to really focus in on the behavior before the reading, so you
Right.
can get to the reading.
And this particular child's behavior has not improved over the year, but his reading has
Okay.
improved.
Good.
So at the beginning of the year, we just wouldn't read. And then we wanted to just read books at a pre-K or K level. And I allowed that for an amount of time, because I had been told by every reading teacher who's ever had him, he will not read for you, he will not do anything for you, he hates reading. And I was bound and determined that that was not gonna be the case. So I let him have his victory.
Right.
But then he read every single pre-K or K book in our library, and he was forced to move it. And he did start selecting more age-appropriate material or things that he could read, and he was reading. I could not even measure his reading for the whole first semester, and then he wasn't with me until the end of January. But when he came back, he was reading at not comprehending,
Right,
but reading, and I could not get him to do that before. So there are small victories in it.
Good, good. What do you need from me? Like, I am challenged on being a classroom teacher and now an instructional coach. Like, I'm challenged on what you need from me to support you with the student that's having behavioral problems. It seems to me as though our system, not you, our system as a whole is easy to withdraw attention from what the problem is instead of addressing the problem. And so I knew that from the video, because he started saying I got in less trouble this year than I did in 3rd grade. So this is an ongoing situation. This is not a 5th grade problem. What would you need from me? I will work on the schedule. I might can help with that.
I think advocacy, really. There's so many things that we as a district have done positively. And I know that we're making some really positive moves going into next year, but I still have 39 days with these kids, and I need another adult who recognizes that we need to take time out for these relationship building things.
Right.
It might seem like a waste of instructional time to take 30 or 45 or an hour out of the day to have a mentoring group, but how's it going to affect our outcome if we can front load all that? If we can just build that into our schedule? Yes, it's an hour they're getting taken out of reading, but is it some time that could be extra RTI time for kids, for our higher kids, or however it looks? But I think the relationship piece of blended personalized learning is the key to everything else, because if they don't like you, they will not work for you. They just won't, and they'll shut down, and that's where we're at right now. We have a bunch of 5th graders who are shutting down, and he's one of them.
Right. That was perfect, because this is what I was going to ask you next, is after doing this project, what's your reflections of the actual results with all of the students you're doing this with? The one that is not currently in your classroom, but I've noticed being in and out of your room that you're doing this with all your students.
Well, here's what I noticed. I have thought for 2 years that the population in this town is somehow different than everywhere else, because they don't have ownership, or they don't appear to have ownership in anything. They seem to have been so micromanaged at home and at school for the last 6 years of their education that they seem incapable of independent thought. But I started doing the data stuff with them. I'm not at a place yet where I am comfortable just turning over data to them cause they don't know what to do with it yet. And I was working on so many other things, that was not my focus this year. But they love to look at it, and that surprises me. I did not see that coming from them. They want to see their numbers get bigger. They wanna see the line go up instead of zigzag. They look forward to their time back here with me to see where they are and what they need to work on, and that shocks me to my very core, cause I have not noticed them caring about much. In fact, many of them expressed to me that they are happy just to do the bare minimum, not to get grounded. So it's so extrinsic. They don't have any intrinsic motivation, or they don't seem to. So I was shocked by this, and I'm looking forward next year to doing more with, I'm really good at disaggregating data on my own,
Yes, you
but
are.
giving it to
Yeah.
them and letting them disaggregate their own data.
And transparency, I think, is the first place to do that, because now that it's transparent to them, then they can start owning that and have an agency.
Yes.
Do you have any other questions for me or need anything